I've got two things to unbox here. I've got the G Wolves Fenrir Asym. I've been waiting for this mouse since I've seen it. So G Wolves very kindly sent me the Fenrir Max, but the one I was really interested in because it just looks a little bit weirder is the Asym, and I'm into pretty weird shapes and you know, how things feel tactfully in my hands is really what I'm into. So those weird, wacky shapes, we've got one of those there. And I've also got the Artisan, what's it called? Type 99 Matcha, which is a mouse pad that I've wanted ever since I've seen it. Not because I'm massive on Artisan pads, but because I just like the color, which honestly, in my opinion, my hot take for peripherals in 2025 is if you're gonna buy a pad, buy one that you like the look of. And that's probably 80% of the challenge that you'll have with pads these days is finding one that you like the look of enough to buy it. So we've got the Matcha. I'm going to open this one first and then we'll get into the Fenrir Max because I'm really interested to see what this one is like. And I've been using lots of control pads recently. So there was a time where I was only using glass pads, but recently I've been using control pads a lot more. So this is right up my street in terms of performance characteristics. Personally, I really enjoy the Jupiter Pro from Lethal Gaming Gear. I think that mouse pad is like perfect characteristics for me personally. It's like really slow, and given that I'm not playing as much as I would like these days, the extra control that you get from a really slow pad like that is perfect because it helps to hold your hand when you're playing, right? So I really like the Jupiter Pro. It gets a massive vouch from me relating to a recommendation if that's what you're after, but it is just a grey pad. So I'm looking for something a little bit different. So get an envelope within a box, and here you get the Artisan mouse pad guide, which is interesting. I've not seen that before. This is my second mouse pad that I've owned actually from Artisan. The first one I owned was the Shidenkai. I've just gifted that to a friend, and I really like the Shidenkai actually. It was the V2. But it just felt like it was defeating the object of being a hybrid glass and cloth pad. The whole reason why I bought it was so that I wouldn't have to use a sleeve, but it was actually stickier than a glass pad would be, so I ended up not using it in the end. So here we are, we've just opened up the pad, and then we get this nice, like, cool green colour. I really like this. This is a really nice colour. And there we are. It feels really nice actually, nice quality. One of the things you hear about Artisan pads is that they're like cream of the crop in terms of the quality that they offer. I already know I'm gonna really like this because the surface is not too like textured, but it feels like you get a little bit of feedback from it. So it's actually a really nice textile. But looking at the surface, it looks, this probably won't come up on camera, but it looks a little bit like pimpled. If you look at it, maybe it's because I've got the window open. It looks really interesting and it feels nice. So it has a similar sort of textile, I would say, texture feeling as the Jupiter Pro in terms of it not being too like in your face, and it's not too textured, it's not too rough. There we are. It's not too rough on your fingers, but there is just a little bit of something there just to give you a little bit of bearing on the surface. And I love this color. Like green is my jam. If you follow me for any period of time, you will know that. I got the Type 99 in soft, and this is a really nice responsive soft. There are some pads that I've been using recently. So I've been using the Curison Shogun, and I think that surface is okay for a control pad. It's pretty fast, but the surface is just really firm, and I think it's marketed. I need to check this. So I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Curison. The surface is supposed to be a soft, I think, but it feels really like not dynamic. So if you press on it really specifically, you get a lot of squidge, but it just doesn't seem to squidge in use. Whereas the Artisan base is really nice. I think that the soft in this pad will be excellent. I've got some video ideas coming up for like static improvement. So my static gameplay is pretty pants. I'm hoping to improve that and try and capture my progress and share that with you. So using this pad will probably be the way to go, and it also means I can talk about it as I play with it too. All right, I was going to say very briefly about, and I got distracted, about the quality that people claim of the Artisan pads. I couldn't personally see that when I got the Shidenkai because it was quite a niche, like weird product. It wasn't maybe the best example for quality that you might get on an Artisan product. But you get in this 99 here, you know, it does look pretty tidy. There's not anything that screams best of the best at me. It's just like all the basics are just done really well. And what do I mean by basics? I mean, the stitching is below the surface. The stitching looks really neat. I've got no complaints from what I can see about the stitching, even where it's joined. Let me see if I can get that on the camera here. Even where it's joined, it almost looks seamless, which is really impressive. It's really nice sort of stitching coming through there. And all the way around it's pretty consistent. So that's one aspect of what I mean when I say a quality of a pad. And then you've got like the materials that they use, right? So is the base good? And here the base is great. Oh shit. So the base is really nice in terms of it being that dynamic, soft feeling rather than it being just a bit like a dead sort of feeling, like it has no life to it. It feels like it's got a bit of life, a bit of dynamism, let's say, in how you could use this surface by comparison to the pad I mentioned earlier, like the Shogun. And I know that I think they're planning to revise the base of that pad in a future release, so I'm not just throwing shade here, but I think that this would be a really nice one for that purpose. You know, the base just feels nice. I don't think people realise how much of an impact the base can have on how a surface plays. So that's something that I would wish to bring to your awareness. So we've got the base, we've got the stitching, the actual surface itself. Like I said, it feels really nice, not too textured, not too smooth. It's got a little bit of something about it. It seems to like grip my fingers almost as I go over the top, but not in an uncomfortable way. It's not abrasive, it just is super, super nice. And then in terms of playing characteristics, doesn't feel worlds away from the Jupiter Pro, which is characteristics that I like. So, you know, I've got a color that I like, I've got good quality, pretty happy. Pretty expensive because I got it shipped from Japan, but I'm pretty happy. I've wanted one of these for a while, and so far it hasn't disappointed. So let's move on. I'm just waffling at this point. I've got the Asym here. I'm very, very keen to get this one out. I feel like I've been waiting for this opportunity for maybe 6 months, and someone's at my door. Stand by.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Boss, all right?
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Cheers, dude. You too. Ah. Do you look at that? I've got some log piled t-shirts to unbox as well. And we'll do that in a minute. So, where was I? Let's get this out of the way. Right. Yeah, I feel like I've been waiting for this for a long time. Let me get this. So what you get with G Wolves mice is just a black box, and it's kind of crammed with your mouse box, and all this other stuff just sort of squeezed into the gap. So you get your mouse bag, and this is intended to kind of keep the mouse free of dust. I don't ever use them, but you can do if that's your jam. And then you get all your like molding clay, which is used if you want to adjust the shape of the mouse. You can just slap that on the side, and it sort of firms up nice and hard for your gripping requirements that might be a little bit outside of what the mouse was designed for. And we've got a couple of sleeves here, which again are not really my bag. I've got maybe like 10 of these upstairs because I keep getting more G Wolves mice. And then you get the actual box itself, which is pretty cool. Fenrir Asym 8K. Let's see what color they gave me. I don't know if there's different colors. All I've seen is black ones. So let's see. God, my studio needs some work. It's on my dining room table at the moment. Voila. Right. Here we are. So we get the usual kind of stuff in here. Loads of goodies. Let's just go through this. So that's that envelope empty. We've got some stickers for the bottom. We've got some foam to re-stick the battery in if it falls out again. Got more stickers for the bottom, more foam, like double-sided sticky foam. We've got some spacers for the bottom of your mouse feet if you need them. Some mouse feet here, which I won't use these. I'll use some probably Ghost Glides BFDs if I have any spare. If not, I'll use the Cyclone Donuts. And then an actual picture of the mouse and how to download the software, which I've already covered in a previous video. So that's everything that's inside that. I really like the grip tape arrangements for G Wolves mice in 2025. I think these are wicked. So if you're not familiar with how this works, basically means you've got a mold for your mouse here, but you can choose to apply the bits that you will touch on your mouse. So you don't have to apply more grip tape than you need. So an example of that is if you only touch the buttons at the front of the mouse, you could just apply those 2 squares and not the whole thing. And if you only touch it on the right hand top corner, you can apply that bit and so on. So it's a really nice way of doing the grip tape, and I really like it. And then inside the box you get this sort of carry case for your mouse again, which is also stuffed full of things. So we have 2 USB-A to USB-C cables, got a nice thick one here, which is like I find that, you know, higher polling rate receivers tend to have really thick, heavy duty cables. And then here you've just got like a lighter duty sort of charging cable. And then in this little bag up here, hopefully you can still see that, we have the mouse itself. So this immediately feels much lower in height than the other one I have here, the Fenrir Max. And this is super different. Wow, yeah, that's really different. Even in the way that it's constructed, right? So hopefully you can see that here. So on the Fenrir Max, you've got almost like a full shell, just with like a texture, like a honeycomb texture. Whereas the Asym is a totally different approach. It's really different. And of course, as a result of this, you get a lighter mouse. So I think this mouse, if I remember right, is between 20 and 21 grams, whereas this one is about 23 grams fully loaded. So it does feel lighter, actually. It's surprising how a couple of grams is noticeable at this weight range. Immediately, something that I've noticed on this mouse is by comparison to the Fenrir Max, that back side button feels a little bit better in terms of it protruding from the shell a little bit more. If you remember, that was a complaint that I had on the Fenrir Max, which I've reviewed recently. There's a link to that on the channel. And yes, it just feels really nice. So the reason why I brought the HSK Pro out is because when I saw pictures of this one online, compared to the Fenrir Max, it looked a lot lower, which of course it is. So if I just hold this up here, you'll see you've got the Asym on this side and the Max on this side. The Asym is much lower on the sides, so you'll be maybe a little bit more restricted in terms of how you can hold this mouse comparatively to the Max. But it is also much lower on the front, which is a really exciting feature. So what people will often say with mice that are low on the front is that they feel like they're sort of clicking with their fingers on the mouse pad. It feels more precise. I haven't had an issue with that on the Max, but I'm really interested to see how it feels on the Asym. And that is a similar sort of click height. Maybe it's lower this time round on the Asym than it was on the HSK Pro. It actually does look lower to me there. I'd have to check that. But that's a similar feature that you would have had on the HSK Pro in terms of, you know, the philosophy that's gone into the Asym looks more HSK Pro-like than the Fenrir Max does. Really cool. And then this side here on this angle just feels comfortable. It's not that noticeable. I think some people would maybe look at this element of the shape and think that it looks weird and that it might like throw them off maybe. But what that does for me in comparison to holding the HSK Pro is it just has a little like hook almost for your finger to feel like it's more locked into. I wouldn't say it's that noticeable in my opinion. So if you're worried about getting the one with a weird shape, I don't think this bit should be your consideration. I think the thing that you should consider is if the height on the sidewalls is important to you and if the height on the clicks is important to you. And I will maintain my position, I think, now that I've held this mouse, or both of them. I'll maintain my position that the Fenrir Max is the safe option and the Asym is the like exciting, sexy option. So I think this one will be really fun to play with, but it might just be a little bit more niche than the Fenrir Max. At least that's my judgment at this point in time. So let me know what you think about this Fenrir Asym. Does it look interesting to you? Because it certainly looks interesting to me. The click structure on these mics is really, really impressive. I'm really keen to give this a go, actually. This feels completely different instrument to the HSK Pro. It feels a lot nicer in my hands. I think the width must be similar to the Fenrir Max. It must be, yeah. It's just got that little, if you look down that left-hand side, or the right-hand side, sorry, it's got that little hook on it right at the back that the Fenrir Max doesn't have, the hook for your fingers, so hopefully that's coming through. It's not as noticeable as I imagined it might feel, the hook on the right-hand side, but super cool. I guess you've got, like, with that extra addition to that side of the mouse, you've got like maybe a couple of different ways you could hold it. You could maybe go for a more standard sort of claw finger placement, just without having it in a claw grip. So positioning your fingers more like this. Whereas when I use the Fenrir Max, I tend to just be a lot more relaxed in my finger placement by comparison. So you could be a little bit more aggressive with your fingers on the Asym if you wanted to, I suppose. You might just be a little bit more restricted in terms of doing that sort of finger palm thing that you saw Ballsy talking about with the Max. So that's, again, the difference between these, in my opinion. More flexibility with how you can use the Max versus a different style of grip on the Asym. A little bit more like sexy, a little bit more like having a kit car maybe, where it's super specialist, does something really well, but it doesn't do everything, like a jack of all trades. It'd be interesting to see how this one performs in game. So let me just cover this as well. This scroll wheel feels different. This is way more defined than the Max. This is way more defined than the Max. I wonder if they've used a different encoder or if it's the wheel or something. It's a lot lighter as well, so they've definitely used a different encoder. That's interesting. And the wheel is, the wheel looks different too. It might not be different. It might just be that my one's on the Max is a little bit like grubby because I've used it for so long now. But the this wheel, by comparison to the Fenrir Max, feels a lot more defined in its steps, which isn't a bad thing. It just feels like the steps are bigger as well. So that's an interesting change that they've made between the models. I wonder why they did that. Maybe it's like a space thing, maybe, at the front of the mouse. And then the actual click is super, super light. So that'll be interesting. I wonder if I will click this by accident when I'm scrolling. I'll get used to it for sure. All right, so what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna put some of the grip tape on and then I'm gonna maybe jump into a game and just test the combination, the new combination with the Artisan 99 and the Fenrir Asym. Before we do that though, I'm gonna get my t-shirts out. So these have just arrived, and like my cap, you might have seen my log cap recently. I have commissioned some custom log pile clothes, and these are just for me really, but I've got two of them. We've got a really nice, look at that, and that's sick. Got a nice embroidered log on the chest, and then on the back, for some reason, I regret this, we've got the big old log pile. It's almost like a flipping stag do t-shirt. I regret that. I shouldn't have got the log pile on the back. But the embroidery on the front looks dope. So bear with me. I'm gonna take my kit off, put my new kit on, and then I'll pop back. Don't want you lot looking at my nipples. Keep your nips to yourself. Very nice. How does it look then? Looks a bit tight. Maybe I need to get the next size up. Or I can just look fucking jacked in my videos. Right, that'll do. Looks nice. What do you think? Do you like it? Bit green. They didn't have the original colour that I wanted, so I went for the old, the kiwi instead of the forest green. But there we are. Pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with these. And then when I get my my cap on at the same time, I'm going to be fully branded up. So I'm going to apply some of the grip tape. I might just stick the whole pack on. At least on the sides, I'll get all of the sides grip taped up, and then I might jump into a game and see how this combination feels. G Wolves keep doing it. They keep working their magic on these things. I don't know how I don't know what the next stage is for G Wolves, because they keep pushing the boundaries, but typically with constantly pushing boundaries, you come up against a hard stop in terms of how much you can keep pushing and get away with it. So we'll see. We'll see if they reach a limit. I'm really interested to see how the engineering in that team continues to develop, because they are certainly one of the only brands at the moment that are pushing those boundaries. I personally find it very exciting, which is why I cover their products. Right. Yeah, that feels instantly much better to me with the grip tape on. I'm not a big fan of the pure plastic feel, which is why every G Wolves mouse I have has the grip tape applied. The plastic just doesn't do it for me. That instantly feels so much better. All right, let's go and set up the OBS on the computer. Maybe we'll play a game with the new mouse. Cheers. All right, let's do a little bit of Splitgate with this combo. So my initial impressions of this pad in terms of how it sticks, because obviously I couldn't test that when I unboxed it, is that I had to keep adjusting it to get it in the right spot on my desk. So in terms of how that base sticks, it's actually really nice, which is not something that I experienced with the Shidenkai when I bought it. So let's just play a quick game of Arena Quick Play and see how we go. So I'm already noticing how much faster the Asym feels to the Fenrir Max, and I'm not suggesting that that is necessarily a good thing, but it is certainly very fun. So we'll see how it plays out in game. And this is my first game. I'm just going to see how it goes. If it's good, I'll include it in a video. If it's bad, maybe I'll just chop it up and show you the 1 or 2 shots that I do manage to hit. Get away from me with that thing. Ah. Fastest nipple in the West is what his name is. We'll see about that. We'll see about that, buddy. Oh my gosh. I'm getting fried, man. I'm getting absolutely fried. And you see the lightness of the mouse. My aim is very jumpy. Just a little bit of training here will go a long way, I think. Play a different angle. Let's not just do what everyone else is doing. That felt nice, really smooth. Oh my gosh, why did I miss that? The pad feels really nice. No complaints with the pad whatsoever. Get out, mate. Let's get in there like swimwear. I'm not very good at this game sometimes. Bit of pre-firing. Knew he was going there. Oop. Oof, that was spicy. Not sure I'm doing very well, but it is fun. Their team's struggling a bit, I think. So yeah, I'm getting really nice control from the pad. The only issue that I have is how fast this bad boy is. Just a little bit of adjustment needed, I think. Got him. Issue is I got as well. Yeah, you can see. You can see in my aim how like unsteady I am. It's really fun though, super reactive. Oh my gosh. Super reactive. Like, unbelievably reactive. I think this could be a really fun one to keep experimenting with, I think. And you can feel the click height too. Your fingers just feel in a completely different position. Is our opponent winning? Oof, gosh. Tell you what, my game sense is struggling. Going from my corporate job to doing my report writing or my aim training is not always a good transition to make. This is fun though. I'm still enjoying it. No! Alright, let's try that again and let's use our abilities a little bit smarter this time. I just realised my t-shirt actually matches the colour of the pad almost. That's pretty cool. Whoop. Oh, come on, Petruski. No. Don't whiff. Whew. Oh, I almost over. Whoop. Oh, that's funny. Oh my gosh. He is the fastest nipple in the West. I thought my shield was up. That sucks. Oh, we're losing, dudes. Am I the reason why? I hope not. Am I the reason? No, I think they're just playing as a team and we're just playing for frags. There's a lesson in there somewhere. I can't decipher what it is, but I'm sure it will make sense one day. I can hear you. Yes. Oh my gosh. It's the nipple man again. Get wrecked. Noob.
Your opponent is going for a capture.
Ah, the lightweight on this mouse is wild, man. And I don't mean that in like a trying to make excuses kind of way, but it really smokes. Are we losing? We are. Ah, shit, that made me jump. That made me jump. I thought I was away then. Okay, bastard got me. Oh no, we lost. Oh dear. I did okay, not the best, but that was really fun. I really enjoy this mouse, man. It feels really different. Surprising how different it feels to the Fenrir Max. I will do a full review on it, but just know that it is a different kettle of fish, I think, in terms of how it feels, kind of shape, etc. And then also the pad, you know, I think that this could be a pad that I used for a very long time. It's a really nice colour. It's exactly the sort of colour that I would want. And it's just perfect in terms of characteristics. Build quality is great. In terms of it sticking to the desk, it sticks really well. really happy overall. What an absolute solid unboxing day. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you again very soon.